What if your greatest enemy isn't the world, but your own mind? This audiobook will reveal the hidden forces controlling your thoughts and how to break free. Master your mind, rewiring your reality, and unlock unstoppable confidence. The power is already within you. Take control now. Introduction. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you are not in control of your own mind? That your thoughts, your emotions, and even your decisions are being hijacked, not by society, not by technology, not by other people, but by something far more dangerous, your own unconscious mental programming. You think you're making choices freely, but the truth is, most of what you do is dictated by habits, fears, and conditioned beliefs you never even chose for yourself. Every moment you hesitate, every goal you abandon, every self-doubt that creeps in, it's not because you're incapable. It's because your mind is running on autopilot, following a script that was written long before you ever realized it. And unless you take back control, it will continue to rule your life, making your choices for you. But here's the shocking part. You can reprogram your mind. You can rewrite that script. You can take full control of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to create the reality you actually want, not the one your unconscious fears and past experiences have trapped you in. And that is exactly what this audiobook will teach you. No fluff, no vague motivation. Just real, actionable strategies backed by science, psychology, and neuroscience to give you complete mental control. The ability to train your mind is the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck in cycles of self-doubt, overthinking, and procrastination. And right now, you're about to learn how to master it. The mind control secret they never taught you. Let's get one thing straight. This is not about manipulation. It's not about controlling others, tricking people, or hacking your way to success with cheap mental tricks. This is about mastering yourself. Because here's the truth. Every limitation in your life, every struggle, every frustration you've ever felt comes down to one thing: your ability to control your mind. If you can't control your focus, you'll always be distracted. If you can't control your emotions, you'll always be reactive. If you can't control your thoughts, you'll always be at war with yourself. Most people spend their entire lives as prisoners of their own mind. They don't even realize that the way they think is not a reflection of reality. It's just a set of conditioned patterns. That's why some people succeed against all odds, while others fail, despite having every advantage. It's not about intelligence. It's not about talent. It's about mental discipline. Your mind is either your biggest weapon or your greatest weakness, and the difference is whether you control it or it controls you. What you'll learn in this audiobook, by the time you finish this audiobook, you will not think the same way you do right now. That's not a vague promise. It's a biological fact. Your brain is rewiring itself every second of every day. Every time you challenge a belief, shift a thought, or practice mental control, you physically change your brain structure. This is called neuroplasticity, and it is the reason why some people remain stuck in self-sabotage while others break free and reprogram their minds for success. The difference isn't luck, it's knowledge and training. This audiobook will teach you how to break free from negative thought patterns and rewire your brain for confidence and success. Eliminate distractions and master the science of deep focus. Take full control of your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Train your mind for unshakable mental resilience so nothing can break you. Overcome self-doubt and develop unstoppable confidence. Destroy procrastination and build ironclad discipline. Use proven psychological techniques to set and achieve goals without failure. This is not passive learning. If you just listen without taking action, nothing will change. But if you commit to applying these techniques, your mind will transform, and so will your life. Why most people fail and why you won't. Here's a harsh reality. Most people will never master their mind. They will keep overthinking, keep doubting themselves, keep making excuses, and keep waiting for the perfect time to change. They will read books, watch motivational videos, and still stay stuck in the same place year after year. Why? Because they never actually take control of their own thinking. They let their fears, their past, and their subconscious programming dictate their actions. But you are not most people. You are here because you're ready to break that cycle. You're here because you want to take control of your mind and start thinking, acting, and living at a higher level. That means this audiobook is not just something to listen to. It's something to use. Every strategy I share with you is designed to be applied immediately. Every mental shift I explain has been proven to work, not just in theory, but in real life. But for it to work, you have to commit to the process. The key to everything you want in life. Let me be crystal clear. Everything you want in life starts in your mind. Success, confidence, happiness, resilience. It's all rooted in your ability to control your thoughts and emotions. No matter where you are right now, no matter how stuck, lost, or unmotivated you feel, the moment you take control of your mind, everything changes. And that journey starts now. Are you ready? Because once you learn these mental control techniques, you will never think the same way again. Chapter 1. The hidden mechanism that controls your life. Have you ever had a moment where you wondered why your life is the way it is? Why do certain thoughts pop into your head, even when you don't want them to? Why do some people seem to move through life with ease, making sharp decisions and staying emotionally composed, while others feel constantly trapped in cycles of overthinking, doubt, and indecision? It's not luck. It's not fate. It's not something mystical beyond your control. It's your mind, the most powerful and least understood force in your life. Most people assume they are in control of their thoughts. But what if I told you that nearly 95% of your daily decisions, actions, and emotional responses are made before you even consciously think about them? Your mind operates like a machine, running on deep-seated patterns, habits, and beliefs, many of which were programmed into you years ago, some even before you were old enough to speak. These hidden programs dictate how you feel, how you react to situations, and even what you believe is possible for your future. And the scariest part? If you don't take control of these mental processes, they will control you. But here's the truth. You don't have to remain a passive participant in your own mind. You can take the wheel. You can rewrite the code. You can become the master rather than the servant. However, real mind control, the kind that gives you clarity, confidence, and the ability to steer your life in the direction you choose, doesn't come from force or suppression. It comes from understanding. That's what this chapter is about. We are going to dive deep into the inner workings of your mind. We'll break down the conscious and subconscious, uncover how your thoughts are formed, and reveal the hidden mechanisms that influence everything from your habits to your emotions. Most importantly, we'll explore how to break free from mental patterns that keep you stuck so you can build the life you actually want. So before we begin, I want you to ask yourself, are my thoughts truly my own? Or have they been shaped by forces I never questioned? By the time you finish this chapter, you'll have the answers, and more importantly, you'll have the tools to change them. The illusion of control. Are you really in charge? Let's start with something that might be hard to hear. Most of what you think and feel is not consciously chosen by you. It feels like you're making decisions in the moment, but in reality, your brain is predicting your responses before you even realize it. Neuroscientists have discovered that decisions are made in the subconscious milliseconds before you consciously choose them. That means, by the time you think you're deciding to react a certain way, your brain has already set the course based on past experiences, habits, and deeply ingrained programming. Think about the last time you got angry, sad, or anxious. Did you consciously decide, I'm going to feel anxious now? Of course not. It just happened. Your mind was running an automatic script, much like a computer follows a pre-written code. The same thing happens when you procrastinate, self-sabotage, or react to stress in ways you later regret. It's not because you're weak-willed or incapable. It's because your subconscious is calling the shots, and your conscious mind is just rationalizing those decisions after the fact. This is why change feels so difficult. You can tell yourself you'll stop overthinking, that you'll be more confident, or that you won't let fear control you. But unless you change the programming running beneath the surface, those conscious affirmations won't stick. But here's the good news. Your mind is malleable. Your subconscious is not your enemy. It's simply following the instructions it has been given over time. And if those instructions are outdated or harmful, you can rewrite them. You can regain control. But to do that, you first need to understand how the mind is structured. The two minds, conscious versus subconscious. Your mind is divided into two major parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. These two systems work together, but they operate in completely different ways. The conscious mind is the part you're aware of. It's where your logical thinking, decision-making, and reasoning take place. It's what allows you to plan, analyze, and make sense of the world around you. However, it's only responsible for about 5% of your daily thoughts and actions. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, is like an unseen supercomputer. Running in the background, it controls everything you do automatically, from breathing and blinking to deeply ingrained habits, fears, and emotional responses. This is where your true mental power lies, but it also holds the limiting beliefs and emotional patterns that keep you stuck. Imagine your subconscious mind as a vast library of experiences, emotions, and beliefs, all stored away from your conscious awareness. Every moment of your life, from childhood to today, has contributed to this massive collection of data. If, as a child, you were told you weren't good enough, your subconscious filed that away as a belief. If you failed at something and felt humiliated, your subconscious marked that as a warning, a reason to avoid similar situations in the future. These stored experiences shape your behavior in ways you don't even realize. This is why people repeat the same mistakes, fall into the same toxic relationships, or struggle with the same fears, no matter how much they try to change. They are battling against a subconscious program that has already decided their response before they even think about it. But here's what most people don't realize. Your subconscious mind is not rigid. It is constantly adapting, learning, and reshaping itself. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, means that you can change even the deepest patterns of thought, but only if you know how to access the subconscious mind directly. How your mind creates your reality. Now here's where it gets even more powerful. Your subconscious doesn't just store past experiences. It creates your future experiences based on the patterns it has recorded. This is why people who expect bad things to happen to them often experience more negative events. It's not superstition. It's neuroscience. Your subconscious mind is constantly scanning your environment for evidence that matches its existing beliefs. If you believe deep down that you are not capable of success, your mind will filter out opportunities that contradict that belief. If you've been conditioned to expect failure, your subconscious will sabotage you in ways you don't even notice. Procrastination, hesitation, self-doubt, all to keep you within the safe boundaries of your past programming. This is why controlling your mind is the most powerful skill you can ever develop. Once you learn how to override the subconscious programs that limit you, you can begin to shape your life in ways you never thought possible. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this audiobook. In the next section, we'll dive even deeper into how these subconscious patterns are formed and, more importantly, how you can start rewriting them today. Because once you take control of your mind, you take control of your entire reality. Chapter 2: The Silent Architect of Your Reality. Have you ever felt like life is happening to you rather than being shaped by you? Like no matter how hard you try to change, something deep inside keeps pulling you back into old patterns of procrastination, fear, or self-doubt? What if I told you that this isn't random? What if I told you that at this very moment, an unseen force inside your own mind is actively sculpting your reality, filtering what you notice, shaping your decisions, and even determining what you believe is possible for you? That force is your subconscious mind, and whether you realize it or not, it is constructing the life you live every single day. The question is, who programmed it? Most people assume that they are in full control of their thoughts, decisions, and reactions. They believe they are freely choosing their careers, relationships, habits, and even the way they see themselves. But the truth is far more unsettling. Most of these choices were already made for you, long before you ever questioned them. The way you think, the way you react, the way you process emotions, these are not spontaneous, independent decisions. They are automated responses running in the background of your mind, shaped by experiences you may not even remember. Think about it. Why do some people walk into a room and radiate confidence, while others shrink into the background? Why do some people bounce back from failure effortlessly, while others spiral into self-doubt? It's not intelligence, talent, or even luck. It's mental programming. The way you behave, the way you perceive the world, and the way you respond to opportunities or threats has already been predetermined by years of subconscious conditioning. And if that programming isn't serving you, if it's making you overthink, hesitate, or feel stuck, then your life will reflect that, no matter how badly you want to change. But here's the most powerful truth you will ever hear about the mind. Your subconscious does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows what you repeatedly tell it, what you emotionally reinforce, and what patterns you allow to continue. And this means that you, yes, you, have the ability to completely reprogram your mind from the ground up if you are willing to understand its mechanics and take control of its inputs. This is where our journey begins, because if you don't control your mind, someone else will. Your mind as a filter. How reality is constructed. To fully grasp the power of your subconscious, you need to understand one simple fact. Your mind does not show you reality. It shows you a filtered version of reality. Every second, your brain is bombarded with an overwhelming amount of data. Sights, sounds, sensations, emotions, memories. If you were consciously aware of all of it at once, you would be completely paralyzed by information overload. To prevent this, your mind has a built-in filtering system that decides what information is important and what can be ignored. This filtering system is called the Reticular Activating System, ERAS, and it is one of the most powerful yet misunderstood mechanisms in the human brain. The RAS acts like a mental gatekeeper. It decides what you notice and what fades into the background. Ever wondered why, after buying a new car, you suddenly start seeing that exact model everywhere? It's not that more people suddenly started driving it. It's that your RAS has marked it as relevant, so now it allows your conscious mind to register it. The same process happens with your beliefs. If your subconscious mind believes that you are not good enough, your RAS will filter the world in a way that reinforces that belief. It will make sure you notice every rejection, every failure, every criticism, while completely ignoring signs of your capability and worth. This is why people who expect bad things to happen to them seem to encounter misfortune over and over again, while those who expect success tend to find it everywhere. It's not luck, it's not coincidence, it's mental filtration. Your reality is being constructed by the lens through which you view the world, and that lens is programmed by your subconscious mind. Now, here's where it gets even more important. The subconscious mind is incredibly malleable. It can be reshaped, reprogrammed, and rewired. But most people never do this consciously. Instead, they allow their subconscious to be programmed by external forces, parents, teachers, media, culture, without ever questioning whether that programming serves them. And once those mental patterns are set, the RAS continues filtering reality in a way that reinforces them. But what if you could reverse engineer this process? What if, instead of letting past conditioning control you, you could consciously retrain your mind to filter reality in a way that supports your goals, strengthens your confidence, and eliminates self-doubt? The truth is, you can. But to do that, you must first learn how your subconscious has been programmed, and, more importantly, how to break free from limiting mental scripts. The mental programs that control you. From the moment you were born, your subconscious mind has been recording everything, every experience, every word spoken to you, every emotional reaction you've ever had. These recordings form the foundation of your mental programming, the automatic scripts that dictate how you respond to the world. If you were told as a child that you were smart, your subconscious stored that belief, and your RAS filtered reality in a way that reinforced it. If you were told that you weren't good enough, your subconscious stored that too. And no matter how hard you try to prove yourself, your mind will continue filtering the world through the lens of that belief. These subconscious programs run in loops, like a soundtrack playing beneath your conscious awareness. They determine how you react to criticism, whether you see obstacles as challenges or dead ends, whether you believe success is possible for you, how you handle stress and uncertainty, whether you step forward in confidence or hesitate in fear. And here's the key realization: most of these programs were not chosen by you. They were installed by parents, teachers, culture, experiences, often before you were even old enough to question them. So the real question is, whose voice is actually controlling your mind? Because if you don't actively take control of your mental programming, you will spend your entire life running outdated scripts that were written by other people. And the only way to change that is to become the author of your own mind. In the next section, we'll explore exactly how these subconscious programs shape your life and, more importantly, how you can reprogram them for unstoppable confidence, clarity, and success. Because the moment you take control of your mind, everything changes. Chapter 3: Rewiring the hidden programs running your life. If you could open the control panel of your mind and see the software running your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, what would you find? Would you discover a program designed to make you confident, focused, and unstoppable? Or would you see outdated scripts filled with hesitation, fear, and self-doubt, patterns installed long ago without your permission, now dictating the course of your life without you even realizing it? Most people never question the thoughts that run through their heads. They assume their worries, insecurities, and habits are just who they are. But let me tell you something that will change the way you see yourself forever. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are simply mental habits, running in loops, shaped by experiences and reinforced by repetition. They are not fixed. They are not permanent. And more importantly, they can be rewritten, but only if you recognize the hidden programs at work inside your subconscious. Think of your mind like a computer. The subconscious mind is the operating system, quietly running everything in the background. Your conscious mind is the user interface, the part of you that thinks it's in control, but is really just responding to the deeper code written beneath the surface. The problem is, most people never upgrade their mental software. They run on the same outdated beliefs they were given as children, never realizing that those programs are shaping everything: their relationships, their careers, their confidence, even their health. Here's the real danger. The subconscious doesn't care whether a belief is helpful or harmful. It doesn't judge whether a thought is true or false. it only cares about efficiency, repeating what is familiar over and over again. That means if you've been conditioned to doubt yourself, your mind will continue feeding you thoughts of doubt, not because they are true, but because they are habitual. And unless you consciously intervene, those patterns will shape your entire life. But here's the good news. Every program in your mind can be rewritten. The same way a computer can be updated with new software, your subconscious can be reprogrammed to eliminate limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones. The key is understanding how these programs were installed in the first place and how you can systematically break them down and rebuild them in a way that serves you rather than holds you back. The subconscious blueprint, how your beliefs were installed. To reprogram your mind, you first need to understand where your beliefs come from. Most people think their opinions, fears, and habits are conscious choices, but in reality, almost all of them were installed before you even knew what was happening. From birth to about age 7, your brain operates primarily in theta waves, a state of deep receptivity. During this period, your mind is like a sponge, absorbing everything around it. Your parents' words, your environment, societal expectations, without questioning whether they are true or false. This is when the core blueprint of your mind is formed. If you were constantly told as a child, "You're smart, you can achieve anything," your subconscious locked that belief in as a program, reinforcing confidence and resilience. But if you were told, "Be careful, life is hard, don't take risks," your subconscious absorbed that instead, installing a script of fear and hesitation that could still be influencing you today. Even seemingly small experiences can create powerful subconscious imprints. A single moment of embarrassment in childhood can lead to a lifelong fear of public speaking. A painful rejection can create an unconscious belief that you are not worthy of love. The subconscious takes these experiences, generalizes them, and builds rules around them. Rules that dictate how you navigate the world, often without your awareness. And here's the kicker. Once a belief is installed, your mind will actively seek evidence to support it, while filtering out anything that contradicts it. This is called confirmation bias, and it's one of the most powerful forces shaping your reality. If you believe you are not good enough, your subconscious will focus on every failure, every mistake, every criticism, while ignoring your successes. If you believe money is hard to come by, your subconscious will reinforce that belief by making you overlook opportunities. This is why simply telling yourself to think positive doesn't work. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if your subconscious is still running an old program that says you are not worthy, your actions and emotions will always revert to that default setting. To truly change, you need to reprogram your subconscious at its core. And that starts by challenging the beliefs you've been carrying for years. Breaking free from mental chains, how to rewrite the program. So, how do you break free? How do you override the outdated scripts running in the background of your mind and install new empowering beliefs? It starts with awareness, because you cannot change what you do not recognize. The first step is to identify the dominant beliefs controlling your life. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself? What do I believe about success, love, happiness, and failure? Are these beliefs helping me or limiting me? Be brutally honest. If you discover thoughts like, "I'll never be good enough," "Success is for other people, not me," or "I always mess things up," recognize them for what they are. Mental programs, not facts. These beliefs only have power because they have been reinforced over time. But once you expose them, you weaken their grip. The next step is to challenge and replace these beliefs with new empowering ones. But here's the secret. Your subconscious won't accept a belief just because you tell it to. It needs evidence. That means you must actively seek out proof that contradicts your old beliefs. If you've always thought you're not good at something, find small wins that prove otherwise. If you've believed success is out of reach, start noticing stories of people who have achieved what you want. The more proof you gather, the faster your subconscious rewires itself. And most importantly, you must embody the new beliefs through action. You cannot just think differently, you must act differently. If your subconscious tells you to hesitate, take action anyway. If it tells you that you're not capable, prove it wrong by doing something outside your comfort zone. Each time you override an old program with a new action, you weaken the old neural pathways and strengthen the new ones. This is the foundation of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience. The turning point, becoming the architect of your mind. Right now, at this very moment, your subconscious mind is shaping your life. The thoughts you allow, the beliefs you reinforce, the actions you take, all of these are either strengthening old programs or creating new ones. The difference between those who control their minds and those who remain prisoners of their programming is simple: awareness and action. If you take nothing else from this chapter, remember this: you are not stuck. You are not bound by the thoughts you've been thinking, the emotions you've been feeling, or the habits you've been repeating. Your mind is a tool, not a master. And once you learn how to control it, once you learn how to reprogram your subconscious at the source, you will unlock a level of personal power that most people never even realize they have. And that is exactly what we're going to dive into next, because understanding the mind is just the first step. The real transformation begins when you learn how to harness its power and reshape your reality from the inside out. Chapter 4: The battle between conscious and subconscious. Who's really in control? Have you ever decided, truly decided, that you were going to change something in your life only to find yourself slipping back into old habits within days or weeks? Maybe you made a firm resolution to wake up early and take control of your mornings, only to hit the snooze button repeatedly after a few days. Or perhaps you vowed to overcome self-doubt, to stop overthinking, and just take action. But when the time came, hesitation still gripped you. If you've ever felt frustrated by this cycle, let me assure you, it's not your fault. The reason change feels so difficult is because there are two competing forces inside your mind: your conscious will and your subconscious programming. Most people believe that their conscious mind, the part that makes rational decisions, is in control. But the truth is, the subconscious runs the show. Your conscious desires might want to change, but if your subconscious is programmed with old beliefs, habits, and fears, it will resist. Not because it wants to sabotage you, but because its job is to keep things familiar. Think of your mind like a car. Your conscious mind is the driver. It sets the destination, decides where it wants to go. But your subconscious mind is the engine, controlling the speed, direction, and whether the car even moves at all. If your subconscious has been programmed with limiting beliefs, "I'm not good enough, change is hard, I always fail," it's like having a GPS that keeps redirecting you back to where you started, no matter how much you try to steer in a new direction. This is why people struggle to break bad habits, why they find themselves repeating the same patterns in relationships, careers, and personal growth. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not laziness. It's a battle between the driver and the engine. And until you get both working in the same direction, progress will always feel like an uphill struggle. But here's the exciting part. Your subconscious is trainable. It is not fixed, and it is not unchangeable. The key is understanding how it operates, how it resists change, and most importantly, how to override its programming so that it works for you, not against you. Why the subconscious resists change, the comfort zone trap. Your subconscious mind has one primary directive: to keep you safe. And to your subconscious, safety means familiarity. This is why even when you consciously want to step outside your comfort zone, to try something new, to break an old habit, to challenge yourself, you feel an invisible force pulling you back. That force is your subconscious saying, "This is different. This is unknown. This is risky." But here's the kicker. Your subconscious does not differentiate between what is truly dangerous and what is simply unfamiliar. It reacts to both in the same way by triggering resistance. That's why, even when there is no real danger, even when you logically know you should act, you still hesitate. That hesitation is not a conscious decision. It is an automatic response from your subconscious, designed to keep you within the boundaries of what it knows. Think of your comfort zone as an invisible fence. Inside this fence, everything feels familiar. Your habits, your thoughts, your routines. The moment you try to step outside this fence, alarms go off in your subconscious. You might experience self-doubt, anxiety, procrastination, or an overwhelming urge to retreat back to the familiar. This isn't because change is impossible. It's because your mind is wired for survival, and survival means sticking to what it knows. This is why most people get stuck. They want to change, they try to change, but the moment they step outside their comfort zone, discomfort kicks in. And instead of pushing through, they interpret that discomfort as a sign that they can't change. In reality, it's just their subconscious adjusting to something new. And the only way to expand your comfort zone is to push through the initial resistance long enough for the unfamiliar to become familiar. Reprogramming the subconscious, the science of neural rewiring. So how do you reprogram your subconscious to stop resisting and start working with you? The answer lies in neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated experiences. Every time you think a thought, take an action, or feel an emotion, neurons in your brain fire together. The more often they fire in a certain pattern, the stronger that pattern becomes. This is why habits feel automatic, because the neural pathways controlling them have been strengthened over time. But here's the life-changing part. Just as old patterns were built, new patterns can be installed. The key is repetition and emotional intensity. The subconscious learns through consistent reinforcement, not by hearing something once, but by experiencing it over and over again until it becomes the new default. This is why affirmations, visualization, and repeated action are so powerful. They don't work because of magic. They work because they are rewiring the brain, strengthening new neural connections until they replace the old ones. For example, if you've spent years believing, "I'm not confident," your brain has deep neural pathways reinforcing that belief. Simply telling yourself, "I am confident," once won't override it. But if you repeatedly visualize yourself acting with confidence, if you start taking small actions that reinforce confidence, if you create new emotional experiences tied to confidence, over time, those neural pathways become stronger, and the old ones weaken. This is why change feels hard at first. You are literally rewiring your brain, building new mental highways while the old ones still exist. But the more you reinforce the new belief, the more automatic it becomes, until one day, it is no longer something you have to try to believe. It is simply who you are. The moment everything clicks, when change becomes effortless. There is a tipping point in rewiring the mind, a moment when the new belief, the new habit, the new mindset becomes stronger than the old one. And when this happens, change is no longer a struggle. It no longer requires force. It becomes natural. Think about how hard it was to learn how to drive a car. At first, you had to consciously think about everything, pressing the pedals, checking the mirrors, handling the steering. It felt overwhelming. But over time, as the neural pathways in your brain strengthened, driving became effortless. You didn't have to think about it anymore. It became automatic. This is exactly how mental reprogramming works. At first, pushing through fear, thinking differently, and acting with confidence feels unnatural because your brain is still wired for the old patterns. but with consistent reinforcement, the new patterns take over. And when that happens, change no longer feels like effort. It feels like who you've always been. This is the power of controlling your mind. This is how you take back control from old programming, outdated beliefs, and limiting thought patterns, not by forcing yourself to change overnight, but by strategically rewiring your subconscious, one thought, one action, one belief at a time. Because once you do this, once you learn to consciously program your subconscious, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, you cannot achieve. And that is exactly what we're going to dive into next. Because now that you understand the battle between conscious and subconscious, it's time to learn how to win it. Chapter 5. The Silent Architect: How Your Subconscious Shapes Your Reality. There is an invisible force shaping every thought you think, every action you take, and every experience you have. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't make itself obvious. Instead, it operates in the background, molding your reality without you even realizing it. This force is your subconscious mind, and whether you are aware of it or not, it is the architect of your life. Most people believe their experiences shape their beliefs. If they struggle with money, they believe it's because opportunities are scarce. If they keep attracting toxic relationships, they assume it's just bad luck. If they lack confidence, they think it's because they were born that way. But here's the shocking truth. It's the other way around. Your beliefs don't come from your experiences. Your experiences come from your beliefs. Your subconscious is like a projection machine. Whatever is programmed into it, your core beliefs, fears, and expectations, it will seek to confirm in the external world. If you believe deep down that money is hard to come by, your subconscious will filter reality to reinforce that belief. It will cause you to overlook opportunities, to self-sabotage, to stay stuck in the same financial patterns, no matter how hard you try. If you believe relationships are painful, your subconscious will steer you toward people who prove that belief true, even if consciously you swear you want something different. This is why some people seem to effortlessly attract success, while others struggle, no matter how hard they work. It's not luck. It's not just talent. It's because their subconscious is programmed for a different internal reality, and that internal reality creates their external world. If you want to change your life, you must change the blueprint. You must rewrite these subconscious programs that have been silently shaping your reality, because once you do, the external world has no choice but to follow. The science behind the subconscious. Why your mind shapes your world. This might sound like magic, but it's actually neuroscience. Your brain is wired to function based on patterns and predictability. It doesn't like randomness. It craves certainty. And the way it creates that certainty is by filtering reality to match what it already expects to see. The part of your brain responsible for this is the reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS acts like a gatekeeper, determining which information reaches your conscious mind. Right now, there are millions of bits of information coming at you. Sounds, colors, sensations, conversations happening around you. But your brain filters out almost all of it, only letting through what it considers relevant. And what does it consider relevant? Whatever aligns with your subconscious beliefs. This is why once you buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that same model everywhere. It was always there, but your brain didn't notice it before because it wasn't part of your internal reality. Now that it is, your RAS lets it through. The same principle applies to everything in your life: success, confidence, love, abundance. If your subconscious does not believe something is possible for you, your RAS will filter out anything that contradicts that belief, keeping you trapped in the same patterns. This is why affirmations alone don't work. You can tell yourself 1,000 times, "I am successful." But if your subconscious does not believe it, your RAS will continue filtering reality to prove you wrong. The key is to reprogram the subconscious first. to change what it believes is possible, so that your brain starts filtering new evidence to support the reality you want. Breaking the cycle. How to reprogram the subconscious for success. So how do you rewire the subconscious to work for you instead of against you? The process begins with 3 essential steps: exposure, repetition, and emotional intensity. 1. Exposure, flooding your mind with a new reality. Your subconscious forms beliefs based on what it is exposed to most often. If you grew up in an environment where people struggled with money, where success was seen as rare, or where relationships were dysfunctional, those became your default subconscious programs. The only way to change them is to expose your mind to a new version of reality, one where success, happiness, and confidence are normal. This means surrounding yourself with people, content, and environments that reflect the reality you want to create. Read books, listen to mentors, and consume media that aligns with the mindset you're trying to build. The more your subconscious sees something as normal, the more it will start filtering reality to match it. 2nd, repetition, strengthening new neural pathways. Your subconscious does not change overnight. It changes through consistent repetition. This is why habits are so powerful, because every time you repeat a thought or action, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with it. If you've spent years telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," that belief has a deep neural groove in your brain. Simply thinking differently once or twice won't override it. But if you start consciously reinforcing new beliefs over and over, those new neural pathways become stronger and the old ones weaken. This is the essence of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated experiences. 3. Emotional intensity, making the new reality feel real. Your subconscious responds to emotion, not logic. You can tell yourself, "I am confident," but if you don't feel it, your subconscious won't register it as real. The key is to attach emotion to the new belief, to visualize it vividly, to feel the excitement of success, to embody the confidence you want to create. This is why visualization is so powerful. When you mentally rehearse success, your brain fires the same neural pathways as if you were actually experiencing it. The more emotionally real you can make a new belief feel, the faster your subconscious will accept it as truth. The power of identity, becoming the person you want to be. At the core of subconscious reprogramming is identity. You don't just want to change behaviors, you want to change who you believe you are. Because once you shift your identity, everything else falls into place. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, you will unconsciously make decisions that keep you struggling. If you see yourself as someone who is confident, successful, and capable, your subconscious will align your actions to match that identity. The key is to act as if, to start embodying the mindset, the habits, and the energy of the person you want to become. The moment you fully commit to a new identity, everything changes. Your mind stops resisting, your subconscious stops fighting back, and suddenly, change doesn't feel forced. It feels natural. The turning point, taking back control of your mind. Right now, your subconscious is shaping your reality. It is filtering the world, reinforcing beliefs, and directing your actions, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you going to let it run on autopilot, or are you going to take control? Because the truth is, you are not stuck. You are not bound by old beliefs, past experiences, or external circumstances. Your mind is a tool, a powerful, programmable machine. And once you learn how to rewrite the code, you will unlock a level of freedom, confidence, and success that most people never even realize is possible. This is just the beginning. Now that you understand the power of your subconscious, it's time to go even deeper, to learn how to consciously reshape your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors so that success becomes inevitable. Are you ready? Because the real transformation starts now. Chapter 6. The invisible chains. How hidden beliefs keep you stuck. You may not see them. You may not even be aware of them. But right now, there are invisible chains wrapped around your mind. Chains that dictate what you can achieve, what you believe about yourself, and what you allow yourself to experience in life. These chains are not physical, yet they are some of the strongest forces you will ever face. They are the deeply ingrained subconscious beliefs that have been shaping your reality since childhood. These beliefs control everything: your confidence, your success, your happiness, even your relationships. And here's the shocking truth. Most of them are not even yours. They were given to you by your parents, your culture, your experiences, and society. The way you see yourself? That was programmed into you. The way you react to stress, love, failure, or opportunity? That too was installed without your conscious awareness. And unless you recognize these invisible chains for what they are, you will live your entire life inside a mental prison of someone else's design. Have you ever wondered why two people, given the same opportunity, can have completely different outcomes? One might grab hold of it, excel, and rise to new heights, while the other hesitates, doubts themselves, and ultimately lets the opportunity slip away. It's not intelligence. It's not even effort. It's belief systems. The subconscious rules running in the background telling one person, "I deserve success," and telling the other, "I am not good enough." So, let me ask you, what subconscious beliefs are holding you back right now? The origin of limiting beliefs. How the mind is programmed from birth. To understand how these invisible chains were placed on you, we need to go back, way back, to the earliest years of your life. From birth until about age 7, your brain operates primarily in theta waves, a brainwave state associated with deep learning, imagination, and, most importantly, absorption. During these years, your mind is like a sponge, soaking up everything around it, every word, every reaction, every emotion, every experience. This is where your core beliefs are formed, not through conscious thought, but through repetition and emotional intensity. If you grew up in an environment where love was conditional, your subconscious might have formed the belief that you must earn love, leading to a lifetime of people-pleasing and self-sacrifice. If you were constantly criticized, you may have internalized the belief that you are not good enough, leading to perfectionism or fear of failure. If your parents struggled financially, you may have developed the subconscious belief that money is hard to come by, which can sabotage your ability to build wealth later in life. And here's the terrifying part. These beliefs do not operate on a conscious level. You don't wake up each morning thinking, "I must struggle in life because that's what I learned as a child." No, these beliefs operate below the surface, silently influencing your decisions, shaping your reality, and reinforcing themselves over and over again. The subconscious feedback loop. How your mind traps you in repeating patterns. The subconscious mind does not like contradiction. It is designed to maintain consistency between what it believes and what it perceives. This is why, once a belief is formed, your subconscious will work relentlessly to prove it true, whether it serves you or not. For example, if you subconsciously believe that you are not worthy of success, your mind will subtly steer you away from opportunities. You may procrastinate, self-sabotage, or feel paralyzed by fear just when you are on the verge of a breakthrough. Not because you consciously want to fail, but because your subconscious must maintain alignment with its core belief. This is why people find themselves stuck in the same patterns: bad relationships, financial struggles, self-doubt, year after year. It's not because they are unlucky or unworthy. It's because their subconscious is keeping them in the reality that matches their programming. But here's where everything changes. Once you become aware of the pattern, you can break it. Shattering the illusion. How to identify and eliminate limiting beliefs. If you want to take control of your mind, you must start by identifying the invisible programs running in the background. This requires deep self-awareness and radical honesty. You need to question everything you believe about yourself and your potential. Start by asking yourself, what do I believe about success? Do I think it is only for a select few? What do I believe about love? Do I think I must earn it? What do I believe about happiness? Do I think I need to suffer before I deserve it? What do I believe about my own worth? Do I truly feel good enough? Or do I doubt myself constantly? Once you identify a belief, trace it back. Where did it come from? Was it something you were told as a child? Was it based on a painful experience? Did you absorb it from the people around you? And most importantly, is it true? Because here's the thing, beliefs are not facts. They are only mental constructs, built through repetition and reinforced over time. And just as they were installed, they can be uninstalled. The mind's greatest power, rewriting your reality. Once you expose a limiting belief, you now have the power to replace it with something new. Your mind is not fixed, it is adaptable. And the moment you consciously choose a new belief, you begin the process of reprogramming your subconscious. But understand this, your subconscious does not change with mere words. It changes through experience, repetition, and emotion. You must act in alignment with your new belief over and over again until your subconscious accepts it as the new normal. If you have lived with the belief that you are not good enough, start acting as if you are. Speak confidently. Take bold action. Put yourself in situations that challenge you. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. That's because you are overriding old programming. But the more you reinforce the new belief, the more real it becomes. This is how transformation happens, not by waiting for the mind to change, but by forcing it to accept a new truth through action. The breakthrough moment. When the mind shifts and everything changes. There will come a moment in this journey when something clicks. A breakthrough where the old belief shatters and the new belief takes hold. When this happens, it will feel as if an invisible weight has been lifted from your shoulders. You will begin to see the world differently. Opportunities that were once hidden will become clear. Confidence that once felt forced will become natural. And from that moment forward, you will never be the same. Because once you understand that your mind has been shaping your reality all along, you will no longer live by default. You will no longer be controlled by invisible chains. You will become the master of your mind, the architect of your life. And that is when you step into your true power. So ask yourself right now, what invisible chains am I still carrying? And more importantly, am I ready to break free? Because the moment you decide, truly decide, that you will no longer be bound by old programming, you take the first step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. And that, my friend, is where the real journey begins. Chapter 7. The War Within, Conquering Mental Resistance and Self-Sabotage. There is a war happening inside your mind right now. You may not be fully aware of it, but you feel its effects every single day. It's the battle between the part of you that craves growth, success, and transformation, and the part of you that clings to the familiar, no matter how painful or limiting it may be. This internal conflict is the root of all mental resistance, procrastination, fear, and self-sabotage. It is the reason people struggle to break bad habits, chase their dreams, or follow through on the commitments they make to themselves. And unless you learn how to win this war, you will stay trapped in an endless cycle of frustration, knowing you are capable of more, yet never quite able to achieve it. To understand this battle, we need to examine its two primary forces, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is the part of you that sets goals, dreams big, and desires change. It's the voice in your head that tells you to wake up early, work harder, and push past your limits. But then there's the subconscious mind, and this is where the real power lies. The subconscious is not concerned with ambition. It is concerned with safety. Its primary job is to keep you alive, and to do that, it relies on familiarity. If you have spent years believing you are not good enough, your subconscious will resist any attempt to change that belief, not because it wants to hurt you, but because it sees change as a threat to your survival. This is why you experience resistance every time you try to break free from old patterns. Your subconscious mind is like a powerful security system, wired to protect the status quo. The moment you attempt to change your habits, pursue a new goal, or step out of your comfort zone, the alarm system goes off. Suddenly, you feel overwhelmed, anxious, and paralyzed by self-doubt. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, that you're not ready yet, that maybe you're just not meant for this path. But this is not the truth. It is just the subconscious fighting to pull you back to what it knows. And unless you recognize this resistance for what it is, it will continue to win, keeping you stuck in the same patterns for the rest of your life. Why self-sabotage happens. The hidden mechanisms of the mind. Self-sabotage is not random. It is not a flaw in your personality or a weakness in your character. It is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism, a defense system that kicks in whenever your subconscious perceives a threat. And the biggest threat to the subconscious? Uncertainty. Think about it. Your subconscious does not care if you are happy or successful. It cares about what is predictable. If you have spent years struggling with confidence, failure, or financial hardship, that is what your mind knows best. It is familiar. It is safe. And so, even if you consciously want to change, your subconscious will fight against it, pulling you back to the comfort of your old patterns, even if those patterns are destructive. This is why people return to toxic relationships, even when they know they deserve better. It is why people procrastinate on life-changing opportunities, even when they desperately want success. It is why individuals sabotage their own happiness, even when they are on the verge of something great. The subconscious does not care about greatness. It cares about keeping things the same. But here's the good news. Once you understand this mechanism, you can break free from it. You can rewire your subconscious to see change as safe, success as natural, and growth as the new normal. And when you do, you will find that the resistance, the fear, and the self-sabotage begin to dissolve. Breaking the cycle, overcoming mental resistance once and for all. So how do you defeat the subconscious resistance that has been controlling your life? The answer lies in gradual rewiring, exposure, and identity shifting. 1. Rewiring the response to fear. Fear is the #1 weapon the subconscious mind uses to keep you stuck. But here's the truth most people never realize. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a sign of expansion. Every time you feel fear, it means you are about to enter unknown territory. And unknown territory is where transformation happens. The key is to stop interpreting fear as a reason to retreat and start seeing it as a reason to push forward. Whenever you feel resistance towards something you know will benefit you, whether it's speaking up, taking action, or stepping outside your comfort zone, acknowledge the fear, then do it anyway. The more you train your mind to see fear as a signal to act instead of a signal to retreat, the weaker its grip on you will become. 2. Gradual exposure. Training the subconscious for change. If you try to make drastic changes overnight, your subconscious will panic and pull you back with full force. Instead, you must ease into change, allowing your mind to adjust gradually. If you struggle with self-worth, start with small actions that reinforce the belief that you are valuable. If you want to build confidence, start by taking tiny, manageable risks every day. The key is to introduce change in a way that does not overwhelm the subconscious, because once the subconscious accepts a new pattern as safe, it no longer resists it. 3. Shifting identity. Becoming the version of you that no longer struggles. Your subconscious is not just programmed by actions, it is programmed by identity. This is why people who identify as shy will always find ways to avoid social situations, and why people who identify as unlucky will always find proof of their misfortune. Your subconscious will go to extreme lengths to prove your identity correct. If you want to break free, you must step into a new identity before you feel ready. Instead of telling yourself, "I am trying to become confident," tell yourself, "I am a confident person now." Instead of saying, "I am working on my success," say, "I am successful." Already the kind of person who succeeds. The more you affirm this new identity, the more your subconscious will align with it, and the external world will begin to shift to match. The moment. Everything changes, mastering your mind for life. The war within your mind is real. It is a battle between the part of you that wants to grow and the part of you that clings to the past. But here's the truth that changes everything. You are in control. You do not have to be a prisoner of old programming. You do not have to be trapped by fear, resistance, or self-sabotage. Once you see the subconscious for what it is, a security system that can be reprogrammed, you gain the power to reshape your reality from the inside out. And once you master this, everything changes. The struggle disappears. The hesitation fades. The resistance crumbles. Because now, instead of fighting against your own mind, you are working with it. You have become the architect of your thoughts, the director of your emotions, and the master of your destiny. The question is, are you ready to take control? Because the moment you decide, the moment you commit to rewiring your mind, is the moment you step into the life you are always meant to live. And once you do, there is no going back. This is your moment. The war within your mind is ending, and you are the one who wins. Chapter 8. The Subconscious Battlefield, Reclaiming Your Mental Territory. The greatest battles in life are not fought in boardrooms, arenas, or war zones. They are fought in the silent corridors of your mind, where thoughts wage war against possibility, where fear battles courage, and where doubt whispers insidious lies that keep you caged in limitation. Right now, at this very moment, your subconscious is either working for you or against you, shaping your reality in ways you may not even realize. The question is, who is in control? Most people don't realize just how much of their daily life is dictated by deeply rooted subconscious programming. Every choice you make, every reaction you have, every limit you impose on yourself, it's all dictated by patterns buried so deeply that they feel like truth. But here's what they don't tell you. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. It is simply following instructions, running the scripts it was given, enforcing beliefs that it thinks are in your best interest. And if those scripts were installed in fear, in self-doubt, or in limitation, then your subconscious will continue pulling you toward failure, not out of malice, but out of loyalty to its programming. The only way to break free is to reclaim your mental territory, to rewrite the scripts that have dictated your reality for so long. And the first step? Understanding exactly how your subconscious takes control in the first place. The silent saboteur, how your mind creates invisible barriers. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a vast open field, a limitless horizon stretching before you. You are free to go anywhere, do anything, become anyone, but instead of stepping forward, you feel a pull, an invisible barrier keeping you where you are. You hesitate, you doubt yourself, you hear a voice inside your mind whispering, "Stay where it's safe, don't risk it, you might fail." This barrier is not real. It is not made of stone or steel. It is constructed from memories, past experiences, and the unconscious lessons you have absorbed over a lifetime. If you've ever tried to achieve something and failed, your subconscious remembers, If you've ever been hurt, rejected, or embarrassed, your subconscious has stored it away like an archived document, ready to pull out whenever you attempt to step beyond your comfort zone. This is why, no matter how much you consciously want to succeed, grow, or evolve, your subconscious will resist. It doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about protecting you from perceived danger. And if stepping into the unknown feels dangerous, even if that unknown holds your greatest potential, your mind will sabotage you before you ever begin. The comfort zone illusion: why the brain prefers familiarity over freedom. The biggest lie your mind tells you is this: you are safe where you are. Your comfort zone is a mirage, a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you small, predictable, and in control. It convinces you that the familiar is good, that staying in the same patterns, even when they bring you pain, is preferable to taking risks. But let's break this illusion. Think about the moments in your life where you truly felt alive, when your soul was ignited, when excitement pulsed through you like electricity. Did those moments happen inside your comfort zone? Or did they happen when you took a leap, when you challenged yourself, when you risked something and came out the other side stronger? Growth does not happen where it's safe. Transformation does not come from repetition. If you want to reclaim your mind, you must train yourself to embrace discomfort. You must rewire your subconscious to see the unknown not as a threat, but as an adventure, as the place where your greatest potential is waiting. Mental reconditioning: how to train your mind to work for you. The good news is that your mind is adaptable. It is not fixed. The patterns that once controlled you can be overwritten, the old fears can be neutralized, and the barriers that once held you back can be demolished. But you must take control of the process. You must become the architect of your subconscious, deliberately reprogramming it to serve you instead of sabotage you. Here's how. 1. Flood the mind with new instructions. Your subconscious cannot resist repetition. It is programmed through consistent exposure, which means that if you want to change the way your mind operates, you must saturate it with new beliefs, new perspectives, and new truths. Start speaking to yourself differently. Replace self-doubt with self-command. Instead of saying, "I don't know if I can do this," say, "I always find a way." Instead of saying, "I've never been good at this," say, "I am becoming a master at this every day." The words you say become the script your subconscious follows. Change the words, and you change the program. 2. Break the pattern of fear-based thinking. Fear is the primary language of the subconscious mind. Every time you let fear dictate your choices, you reinforce its power over you. The only way to weaken fear is to face it, challenge it, and prove it wrong. Start small. Do something every day that makes you uncomfortable. Push your limits, whether it's speaking up, trying something new, or taking a risk. With every action, you send a message to your subconscious. Fear does not control me. I control fear. 3. Rewire your self-image. Become who you were meant to be. Your subconscious does not just respond to words. It responds to identity. It sees you as a certain type of person, and it works to keep you consistent with that image. If you have always seen yourself as shy, as someone who struggles, as someone who is not enough, your subconscious will work to keep you in alignment with that identity. But here's the key. You can change who you are, not by faking it, but by deciding it. Start seeing yourself as the person you want to be right now, not someday in the future. Act as if the transformation has already happened. Speak, think, and move through life as the confident, powerful version of yourself. Over time, your subconscious will begin to believe it, and once it does, it will shift your reality to match. The turning point, when you take back your mind for good. There will come a moment when everything clicks, when you look back and realize that the version of you who once doubted, hesitated, and sabotaged themselves no longer exists. That moment will not come because of luck. It will not come because the world suddenly became easier. It will come because you changed from the inside out. And that change begins right now. No more hesitation. No more waiting for the perfect moment. No more letting the old programming control your life. You have the power to rewrite your mind, to take back your subconscious, and to finally step into the limitless potential that has been waiting for you all along. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Because the war within your mind is over the moment you decide you are the one who wins. Chapter 9. Breaking the Chains. How to reprogram the subconscious for success. If you've ever felt trapped inside your own mind, battling the same cycles of self-doubt, procrastination, and unfulfilled potential, you are not alone. Most people live their entire lives in this invisible prison, unaware that the chains holding them back were never real in the first place. These mental chains, limiting beliefs, subconscious fears, and conditioned thought patterns were not placed there by fate, nor by some cruel twist of destiny. They were programmed into you piece by piece, experience by experience, until they became the foundation of how you see yourself and the world. But here's the truth that changes everything. What has been programmed can be reprogrammed. Your mind is not a fixed entity, locked in place like an unchangeable machine. It is a living, evolving system, shaped by the inputs you allow into it. And just as your subconscious was trained to believe in limitations, it can be trained to believe in limitless potential. But this process is not passive. You cannot simply wish for a new mindset and expect transformation. You must become an active participant in the reprogramming of your own mind, taking control of the very mechanisms that have controlled you for so long. To do this, we must dive deep into the 3 core principles of subconscious reprogramming: awareness, repetition, and emotional intensity. These are the keys to unlocking the deepest layers of your mind, rewriting the scripts that dictate your reality, and breaking free from the self-imposed chains that have held you back for too long. Awareness, identifying the hidden programs running your life. You cannot change what you do not see. This is why so many people struggle to break free from negative habits, destructive thought patterns, and limiting beliefs, because they are unaware of their own programming. They believe that the way they think, feel, and behave is simply who they are, never questioning whether these patterns were installed by external influences, past traumas, or societal conditioning. But the moment you become aware that your thoughts and beliefs are not absolute truths, but rather programs running in your subconscious, you gain the power to change them. Start by paying attention to your internal dialogue. What are the dominant thoughts that shape your daily experience? Do you constantly tell yourself you're not good enough? Do you catch yourself assuming the worst, doubting your abilities, or expecting failure before you even begin? These thoughts are not random. They are the result of subconscious programming, and they are keeping you stuck in the same cycle of self-sabotage. Next, examine the patterns in your life. If you repeatedly struggle with the same issues, whether it's financial instability, unhealthy relationships, or a lack of self-confidence, it is not because you are unlucky or incapable. It is because your subconscious mind is wired to recreate what it knows. It seeks familiarity even if that familiarity is painful. If your subconscious was programmed to associate money with stress, relationships with disappointment, or success with overwhelming pressure, it will subconsciously guide you toward those outcomes over and over again. But here's where everything changes. Once you see the pattern, you can break it. The moment you recognize that these beliefs are just programs, not universal truths, you begin to strip them of their power. This is the first step in reprogramming your mind, becoming aware of the subconscious patterns that have controlled you, and realizing that they can be rewritten. Repetition, installing new mental programs that serve you. Once you identify the limiting beliefs and thought patterns holding you back, the next step is to replace them with new empowering beliefs. And the most effective way to do this is through repetition, the same method that was used to install your current programming in the first place. Think about how habits are formed. If you repeat an action enough times, it becomes automatic. If you tell yourself something enough times, you begin to believe it. Your subconscious mind learns through exposure, which means that if you consistently feed it new, positive, and empowering thoughts, it will eventually adopt them as truth. This is why affirmations, visualization, and daily mental conditioning are so powerful. It is not about simply thinking positively or ignoring reality. It is about rewiring your subconscious to accept a new reality. If you constantly tell yourself, "I am capable, I am confident, I am successful," your subconscious will eventually accept these statements as truth, just as it once accepted your old self-doubts. But here's the key. You must be relentless. One-time affirmations will not work. Reprogramming the mind requires consistent, daily reinforcement. You must drown out the old beliefs with new ones, immersing yourself in the identity you are trying to create. Speak these new truths every morning. Visualize your success as if it has already happened, and act as if you are already the person you want to become. The more your subconscious is exposed to this new reality, the faster it will shift to align with it. Emotional intensity, supercharging the reprogramming process. The final and most crucial element of subconscious reprogramming is emotion. Your mind does not simply record experiences. It records the emotions associated with those experiences. This is why traumatic memories are so deeply ingrained, and why highly emotional moments shape your beliefs more powerfully than neutral experiences. If you want to accelerate the process of mental reprogramming, you must attach strong, positive emotions to your new beliefs. This means not just saying your affirmations, but feeling them. Don't just say, "I am confident." Stand tall, breathe deeply, and feel the power of that statement in every cell of your body. Don't just visualize success. Immerse yourself in the experience. Imagine the excitement, the pride, the joy of achieving your goals. The more emotion you inject into your new mental programming, the faster it will take root. This is why motivational experiences, powerful speeches, transformative events, deep emotional breakthroughs create lasting change. They override old programming by flooding the mind with high-intensity emotional energy, creating new neural pathways in an instant. You can harness this same power by making your reprogramming process as emotionally charged as possible. Play inspiring music while affirming your goals. Move your body while declaring your new identity. Surround yourself with people and environments that ignite your passion. The more energy you put into the process, the faster your mind will adapt. The mind is your battlefield, and you are its commander. At the end of the day, your mind is either working for you or against you. You are either consciously directing its programming, or you are being controlled by the subconscious scripts installed by your past. But the moment you take control, when you decide to break the old patterns, replace the limiting beliefs, and infuse your mind with empowering truths, you shift the balance of power in your favor. This is not an overnight process. It requires patience, persistence, and an unshakable commitment to becoming the master of your own mind. But the reward? A life of limitless possibility. When you reprogram your subconscious for success, confidence, and fulfillment, you step into a new reality, one where fear no longer holds you back, where self-doubt fades into the background, and where you become the unstoppable force you were always meant to be. The question is, are you ready to take control? Because the moment you commit to this path, the chains begin to break, and the world begins to open in ways you never imagined. This is your mind. This is your battlefield, and you are the one who wins. Chapter 10. The Hidden Puppeteer: How Your Subconscious Shapes Reality. What if I told you that every decision you make, every reaction you have, And every opportunity you either seize or let slip away is not dictated by conscious choice, but by a force operating beneath the surface, a force so powerful that it shapes the trajectory of your life without you even realizing it. This force is your subconscious mind, the hidden puppeteer pulling the strings of your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. And unless you become aware of its influence, you will live as a mere puppet, acting out a script you never wrote. Most people believe they are in control of their lives. They think they make rational decisions based on logic, free will, and personal choice. But if that were true, why do so many struggle with the same issues year after year? Why do intelligent, capable individuals find themselves sabotaging their own success, repeating toxic relationship patterns, or failing to break free from self-destructive habits? The answer lies in the unconscious programming buried deep in their minds. Your subconscious is like an autopilot system. It records every experience, every emotion, every lesson, and stores it away for future reference. It learns from your past, forming patterns that shape your reality. If, for instance, you grew up in an environment where money was associated with stress and scarcity, your subconscious will interpret financial success as a threat, something unfamiliar, and therefore dangerous. So even if you consciously want to be wealthy, your subconscious will find ways to sabotage your progress, ensuring you remain aligned with the beliefs it has absorbed. The same applies to relationships, self-worth, health, and every other area of life. The real challenge is this: most of your subconscious programming was installed before you even had a say in it. From childhood, your mind was shaped by the words, actions, and emotions of those around you: parents, teachers, society, and media. You did not choose your beliefs about yourself or the world. They were given to you. But now, as an adult, you have a choice: continue living by these old programs or rewrite the script entirely. The subconscious lens: why you see the world. The way you do your subconscious does more than just store memories. It filters reality. It acts as a lens through which you perceive the world, determining what you notice, what you ignore, and how you interpret events. This phenomenon is known as the reticular activating system, ERAS, a network in your brain that selectively focuses on information it deems relevant. Ever notice how, when you're thinking about buying a certain car, you suddenly start seeing that car everywhere? It's not that more of those cars appeared overnight. It's that your subconscious tuned into them because they became important to you. The same principle applies to every aspect of life. If your subconscious is programmed to believe that you are unlucky, incapable, or destined for struggle, it will seek out evidence to confirm these beliefs, filtering reality in a way that reinforces your internal programming. This is why two people can experience the exact same situation, but interpret it in completely different ways. One sees failure as a devastating confirmation of their worthlessness, while another sees it as a valuable lesson that propels them forward. One sees opportunity everywhere, while another sees obstacles at every turn. The difference isn't in reality. It's in the subconscious lens through which they view it. But here's the key: this lens can be changed. You are not doomed to see the world through the filters of your past conditioning. By reprogramming your subconscious, you can train your mind to focus on abundance instead of lack, success instead of failure, and opportunities instead of limitations. The first step is becoming aware of how your subconscious is currently filtering your reality. The next step is intentionally shifting that filter to align with the life you want to create. Rewriting the narrative, taking back control of your story. Think about the internal story you've been telling yourself for years. Is it a story of limitation, struggle, and failure? Or is it a story of growth, possibility, and resilience? Your subconscious takes your internal narrative as fact, whether it empowers you or destroys you. Many people walk through life carrying the weight of outdated, self-defeating narratives. I'm not good enough. Success is for other people, not me. I always mess things up. Love never works out for me. These stories may feel like undeniable truths, but in reality, they are just beliefs that have been reinforced over time. And like any belief, they can be changed. To take back control, you must consciously rewrite the story you tell yourself. Instead of repeating old narratives, start crafting new ones. I am more than enough, exactly as I am. I am capable of achieving anything I commit to. I learn and grow from every challenge I face. I attract love, success, and abundance effortlessly. At first, these new narratives may feel uncomfortable, even untrue, but remember, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between real and imagined. It only responds to repetition and emotion. If you immerse yourself in these new beliefs daily, through affirmations, visualization, and consistent action, your subconscious will eventually accept them as reality, just as it once accepted your old limiting beliefs. The power of identity, becoming who you were meant to be. Your subconscious mind does not just respond to thoughts and beliefs, it responds to identity. It works tirelessly to keep you aligned with who you believe you are at your core. This is why lasting change is so difficult for many people. They try to adopt new habits or achieve new goals while still identifying with their old self. For example, if you see yourself as a procrastinator, no amount of productivity hacks will make a lasting difference because your subconscious is wired to keep you in alignment with that identity. If you identify as someone who always struggles with money, then even if you get a financial breakthrough, your subconscious will find ways to bring you back to the familiar state of struggle. The real key to transformation is changing your identity at the core level. Instead of trying to force change while holding on to an old self-image, shift your identity first. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be confident, say, I am a confident person. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be successful, say, I am the kind of person who creates success effortlessly. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be disciplined, say, I am naturally disciplined and focused. When you shift your identity, your subconscious automatically aligns your behavior to match. You don't have to force change. It happens effortlessly because your mind is wired to maintain consistency with who you believe you are. The awakening, a new way of seeing yourself. Imagine waking up tomorrow with a completely new perspective, one where self-doubt is replaced with unshakable confidence, where limitations dissolve into possibilities, and where you finally recognize the immense power you hold over your own life. This transformation is not reserved for the lucky few. It is not something that happens by chance. It is the direct result of taking control of your subconscious mind, breaking free from the old programming, and rewriting the story of who you are and what you are capable of. The question is, are you ready to step into that version of yourself? Because the moment you decide, truly decide, to take control of your mind, everything changes. The chains break, the doubts fade, and you step into the life you were always meant to live. Chapter 11. The War Within. How to overcome mental resistance and master your inner world. Deep inside you, there's a war raging, a battle between the version of yourself that is destined for greatness and the part of you that clings desperately to comfort, fear, and old limitations. This war is not fought with weapons or fists, but with thoughts, habits, and subconscious programming. And the battlefield? Your own mind. You've felt it before. The resistance that creeps in just when you're about to step outside your comfort zone. The voice that whispers, "What if you fail?" The weight of procrastination that keeps you from taking action, even when you know exactly what you need to do. This resistance is not random. It is a deeply ingrained mechanism designed to keep you safe, or at least what your subconscious believes is safe. The human brain evolved to prioritize survival over success. For thousands of years, stepping into the unknown often meant danger. Straying from the tribe, venturing into unfamiliar territory, or challenging societal norms could lead to rejection, hardship, or even death. And though times have changed, your brain still operates with the same primitive instincts. It views change as a threat. Even if that change is something you consciously desire, more confidence, financial freedom, a healthier body, a thriving career, your subconscious is programmed to resist it because it is unfamiliar. This is why people stay in toxic relationships, cling to jobs they hate, and repeat self-sabotaging behaviors despite knowing they are destructive. It is not because they lack intelligence, ambition, or discipline. It is because their subconscious mind has linked familiarity with safety, and safety is its top priority. The result? A never-ending battle between your conscious desires and your unconscious fears. But here's the truth most people never realize. You can win this war. You can rewire your brain to embrace change, override mental resistance, and train your subconscious to support your highest potential rather than sabotage it. But first, you must understand exactly how resistance works, and more importantly, how to dismantle it piece by piece. The phases of resistance, identifying your internal blocks. Resistance does not always appear as obvious self-doubt or fear. It is far more subtle, often disguising itself as rational excuses, distractions, or emotional roadblocks that keep you stuck without you even realizing it. To master your mind, you must first learn to recognize the ways resistance is manifesting in your life. 1. Procrastination, the illusion of later. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear in disguise. When you put off an important task, it is not because you don't care. It is because, on some level, your subconscious perceives that task as a threat. Maybe it triggers self-doubt. Maybe it forces you to confront uncertainty. Maybe it pushes you outside the comfort of what is familiar. Your mind's solution? Delay. It convinces you that later will somehow be easier, but later never comes. Procrastination is a self-reinforcing cycle. The more you avoid something, the more intimidating it becomes, and the harder it is to take action. The only way to break this cycle is to recognize that the discomfort of action is always less painful than the regret of inaction. 2. Overthinking, the paralysis of endless thought. The mind is a master of creating problems that don't exist. Overthinking is another form of resistance, an endless loop of analysis that prevents you from taking action. It gives you the illusion of progress. I'm thinking about it. But in reality, it keeps you trapped in mental paralysis. The subconscious mind does this to keep you in a state of hesitation. If you are always thinking about something, you never have to risk failure. But success is never about perfect decisions. It is about decisive action. The cure for overthinking? Trust yourself. Make a decision and move forward. Even if it's not perfect, action will always teach you more than endless contemplation. 3. Self-doubt, the silent assassin of potential self-doubt, is perhaps the most dangerous form of resistance because it operates at a core identity level. It is the inner voice that questions your worth, ability, or right to succeed. If your subconscious has been programmed with beliefs like, "I'm not good enough," or "I always fail," then no amount of external validation will override this internal programming. The only way to break free from self-doubt is to consciously reprogram your self-image. This means feeding your mind new, empowering beliefs until they become your default identity. Self-doubt is not something you fix in a day. It is something you starve by refusing to entertain it, by proving it wrong through action, and by surrounding yourself with environments that reinforce your highest self. How to override resistance and take back control. Now that you recognize the faces of resistance, the question remains, how do you overcome it? The answer lies in strategically rewiring your subconscious response to change. Below are 3 powerful techniques to override resistance and reprogram your mind for action. 1. The 5-second rule, overpowering the hesitation reflex. The moment you feel resistance, whether it's procrastination, fear, or overthinking, you have 5 seconds to take action before your subconscious kills the impulse. This is what author Mel Robbins calls the 5-second rule. Here's how it works. The second you feel resistance creeping in, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in your head. Take immediate action before doubt has time to take over. Why does this work? Because hesitation triggers your brain's fight or flight response, which floods your body with stress hormones and increases self-doubt. But by taking action immediately, you bypass this response and train your brain to associate movement with confidence. 2. Exposure therapy, making the unfamiliar familiar. Since resistance is triggered by the unfamiliar, the fastest way to eliminate fear is through exposure. The more you do something, the less scary it becomes. Your brain adapts by rewiring neural pathways to see it as normal. For example, if you fear public speaking, practice speaking in front of a mirror every day. If you struggle with self-promotion, post something about your skills online daily. If you are afraid of failure, intentionally put yourself in challenging situations until failure no longer controls you. The key is consistent exposure, doing the uncomfortable thing so often that your brain stops seeing it as a threat. 3. Identity shifting, becoming the person who takes action. Remember, your subconscious fights to keep you aligned with your identity. If you see yourself as someone who hesitates, your actions will reflect that. But if you shift your identity to someone who is bold, decisive, and fearless, your subconscious will work to make that reality true. Start affirming your new identity daily. I am the kind of person who takes immediate action. I thrive under pressure and embrace challenges. I am unstoppable no matter what obstacles arise. The more you reinforce this identity through words, actions, and repetition, the more your subconscious will align with it, until resistance no longer controls you. The final battle, winning the war against yourself. At the end of the day, the only battle worth fighting is the one within your own mind. Resistance will always be there, trying to pull you back into comfort, fear, and old patterns. But you have a choice: to be controlled by it or to master it. Winning this war is not about eliminating fear. It is about acting in spite of it. It is about training your mind to see obstacles as opportunities, challenges as stepping stones, and resistance as a sign that you are growing. The question is no longer, can you do this? The question is, will you fight for the person you are meant to become? Because the moment you choose to win this battle, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Chapter 12. Breaking Mental Chains, Escaping the Invisible Prison of the Mind. There exists a prison unlike any other, one so deceptive that its captives rarely realize they are trapped. It has no visible walls, no iron bars, and no armed guards ensuring compliance. Yet it is more restrictive than any physical cage. This prison is built within the human mind, an intricate web of beliefs, fears, and self-imposed limitations that quietly dictate the course of our lives. It is a prison that convinces people to settle for less than they desire, to remain shackled by their past experiences, and to mistake their conditioned reality for unshakable truth. And the most insidious part? Most people never even try to escape because they have been conditioned to believe there is no way out. But there is. The key has always been within reach, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the moment you dare to challenge everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world. From the moment we are born, our minds begin absorbing the rules of the world around us. As children, we do not question reality. We accept it as it is presented. If we are told something is dangerous, we avoid it. If we are told we are not good enough, we believe it. If we see adults living in stress, struggle, or limitation, we unconsciously accept that as the way life is meant to be. Our subconscious mind, acting as the ultimate recorder, takes in everything: spoken words, unspoken emotions, social patterns, and expectations, and forms a blueprint that will quietly govern our actions, decisions, and self-image for the rest of our lives. By the time we reach adulthood, this mental blueprint is so deeply ingrained that we mistake it for our own true identity. But in reality, it is nothing more than a collection of inherited beliefs, many of which do not serve us, yet continue to rule us like an invisible force. The truth is, most of what you believe about yourself is not actually yours. It is a borrowed set of limitations, passed down from society, parents, teachers, and past experiences. If you were told as a child that you were not smart enough, you likely internalized that belief even if it was never true. If you grew up watching people struggle financially, your mind likely developed an unconscious association between money and hardship, leading you to unknowingly sabotage financial success. If your environment conditioned you to believe that risk leads to failure, your mind may instinctively avoid opportunities, even those that could change your life. And unless you actively challenge these beliefs, they remain your invisible prison, dictating what you do, what you avoid, and who you ultimately become. But here's the most powerful truth of all. Every single one of these limitations is breakable. The bars of this mental prison exist only as long as you accept them. The moment you begin questioning the beliefs you've lived by, the moment you start identifying the false narratives that have held you captive, you begin to dismantle the prison from the inside out. The chains do not break instantly, but with every conscious step towards self-awareness, you weaken their grip. With every challenge to an old belief, you carve a path toward mental liberation. With every action taken outside of your conditioned patterns, you take back your power. The architecture of mental freedom: how to dismantle limiting beliefs. The first and most critical step to escaping the invisible prison of the mind is awareness. You cannot change what you do not recognize. Most people live their entire lives under the control of subconscious programming, repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes, and hitting the same roadblocks without ever realizing that the root cause is not external circumstances, but internal conditioning. To break free, you must become ruthlessly curious about the beliefs that are shaping your reality. Why do you think the way you do about success? About love? About failure? About your own potential? Every deeply held belief, when traced back to its origin, reveals a story that may no longer serve you. And once you identify the story, you gain the power to rewrite it. One of the most effective ways to expose hidden limiting beliefs is to question them directly. Anytime you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," or "success is too difficult," stop and ask, is this objectively true? More often than not, you will find that these beliefs are based on outdated experiences, unfounded fears, or external influences that you unconsciously absorbed. When you begin challenging these beliefs with logic, evidence, and conscious thought, you weaken their hold over you. The more you question them, the more cracks appear in the walls of your mental prison. But awareness alone is not enough. You must actively replace old beliefs with new, empowering ones. Your subconscious mind does not operate in a vacuum. It will always be filled with beliefs, whether positive or negative. If you do not deliberately install empowering narratives, your mind will default to the old ones. This is why affirmations, visualization, and identity shifting are not just motivational tools. They are critical techniques for rewiring your brain. The mind responds to repetition. Whatever you tell yourself most often, it will eventually accept as truth. If you consistently affirm, "I am capable," "I always find a way," I create my own success, and I am in control of my mind. These beliefs will gradually overwrite the limiting ones. It is not a quick process, but it is a permanent transformation, one that redefines who you are at a fundamental level. The mind's resistance. Why breaking free feels uncomfortable. The moment you start breaking free from your mental prison, something unexpected happens. Resistance. The mind, like a protective guardian, does not like change. Even if that change is positive, it will try to pull you back into old patterns, whispering doubts, creating distractions, and triggering fears. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that you are succeeding. Resistance means you are pushing against deeply ingrained programming, forcing your subconscious to adapt to a new reality. And the only way to override this resistance is to persist through it. Think of it like exercising a muscle that has never been used before. The first few times, it feels unnatural, even painful. Your body protests, your mind searches for excuses to stop. But if you keep going, something remarkable happens. The discomfort fades, the movement becomes easier, and eventually, what once felt impossible becomes automatic. The same is true for mental rewiring. The more you challenge your old beliefs, the more natural it becomes to live outside of them. The more you take bold actions despite fear, the less power fear has over you. What once felt like an impossible transformation becomes your new normal. The ultimate truth: you were never trapped. At the core of all of this is a single, life-changing truth. You were never truly trapped. The prison of the mind is an illusion, a structure built from thoughts rather than reality. The bars that have held you back were never solid. They were made of perception. And just as they were created, they can be dismantled. Your mind is your greatest asset, your most powerful weapon, and your key to an entirely new existence. But to unlock its full potential, you must be willing to challenge everything you have believed up until now. You must be willing to push beyond fear, to take action despite doubt, and to refuse to settle for the life your old conditioning would have you accept. The walls of your prison are already crumbling. The only question left is, will you walk through the open door? Chapter 13. The Final Step. Mastering the Art of Mental Freedom. The moment has arrived. You've spent this chapter unraveling the hidden forces that have controlled your thoughts, discovering the invisible chains that have bound you to limitations, and learning how to take the first steps toward breaking free. But awareness alone is not enough. Understanding the mechanics of the mind is one thing. Mastering it is another. True mental freedom does not come from simply recognizing the walls of your psychological prison. It comes from systematically tearing them down, brick by brick, until there is nothing left but infinite possibility. This is where the real work begins. This is the final step, the transformation from someone who is influenced by the mind to someone who is in absolute control of it. So, what does true mental control look like? It is not about silencing thoughts or erasing emotions. It is about knowing, with complete certainty, that you are the observer, not the prisoner of your mind. It is the ability to step back from your thoughts, analyze them with detachment, and choose which ones to entertain and which ones to discard. It is the skill of recognizing when fear is manipulating you and consciously deciding to act in alignment with your higher goals rather than your old conditioning. It is about mastering your focus so deeply that distractions lose their grip on you. It is a state where doubt may knock at your door, but it never takes control of the steering wheel. In short, mental mastery is about shifting from reacting to choosing, from being at the mercy of unconscious programming to being the architect of your own mind. The key to reaching this level of mastery is understanding that your mind is not your enemy. It is your most powerful tool. It is not something to fight against or suppress. It is something to train. Think of it like a wild horse. A wild horse, when left untrained, runs in random directions, leading itself and its rider into chaos. But a trained horse, guided by a skilled rider, becomes a force of unstoppable power, able to navigate any terrain with precision and purpose. Your mind is the same. Left unchecked, it will drag you into fear, procrastination, and self-doubt. But when trained, it becomes your greatest ally, propelling you forward with unstoppable focus, resilience, and clarity. Training the mind, the daily rituals that create mental strength. Mental strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Just like a muscle, it requires consistent training to grow stronger. The problem is that most people train their minds in the wrong direction, repeating negative self-talk, reinforcing limiting beliefs, and allowing distractions to weaken their focus. To truly take control of your mind, you must deliberately reprogram it every single day. This is not a passive process. It requires intentional effort, discipline, and commitment. The most powerful way to rewire your brain is through daily mental conditioning. Every morning, before the world bombards you with noise, take control of your thoughts. Set your intentions for the day. Not just what you want to do, but who you want to be. Do you want to be someone who hesitates, who second-guesses themselves, who is ruled by old fears? Or do you want to be someone who acts boldly, who moves with certainty, who refuses to let fear dictate their choices? Decide before the day begins, because if you don't, the mind will default to its old programming. One of the most effective techniques for daily mental conditioning is visualization. Your brain does not differentiate between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. This means that when you visualize yourself succeeding, taking action, and stepping into the highest version of yourself, your brain begins to accept it as reality. The more you do this, the more natural those actions become in real life. This is not wishful thinking. It is neuroscience. Athletes, entrepreneurs, and high performers in every field use this technique to prime their minds for success, and so can you. Another critical habit is intentional self-talk. Every thought you repeat to yourself strengthens neural pathways in your brain. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, your brain will look for evidence to confirm it. If you tell yourself that success is difficult, your subconscious mind will make sure you struggle. But the opposite is also true. If you train yourself to affirm, I am capable, I am unstoppable, I always find solutions, your brain will begin aligning your actions with those beliefs. Words are not just sounds, they are commands to your subconscious. Speak with power, and your mind will follow. Reclaiming focus, how to guard your mental energy. One of the greatest threats to mental mastery is distraction. In today's world, the battle for your attention is relentless. Social media, news, endless notifications. These things are not just harmless entertainment. They are designed to hijack your focus, scatter your thoughts, and weaken your ability to direct your mind with purpose. The more distracted you are, the less power you have over your own thoughts. This is why true mental control requires ruthless discipline over your focus. To reclaim your focus, you must guard your mental energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Set clear boundaries with technology. Reduce exposure to negativity. Design your environment to minimize distractions. Train your brain to resist the urge for instant gratification. The more you strengthen your ability to focus, the more control you will have over your thoughts, your emotions, and ultimately, your reality. The final transformation, becoming the master of your mind. When you reach the final stage of mental mastery, something incredible happens. You become unshakable. Fear no longer paralyzes you because you understand it is just a temporary signal, not an absolute truth. Negative thoughts no longer control you because you have trained yourself to replace them with empowering ones. External circumstances no longer dictate your emotions because you have built an inner world so strong that nothing can shake it. But most importantly, you realize that you were never truly limited in the first place. The walls of your mental prison were never real. The doubts, fears, and hesitations that once held you back were nothing more than illusions. Illusions that lost their power the moment you decided to question them. You were never lacking. You were never incapable. You were simply conditioned to believe that you were, and now you are free. The final step is simple. Live from this new reality. Do not just understand these principles, embody them. Do not just think about mental mastery, practice it every single day. The world belongs to those who have mastered their minds, because when you control your mind, you control everything. So ask yourself, who will you choose to be from this moment forward? Will you go back to living in the patterns of your past? Or will you step fully into your power, leaving behind every limitation that once held you back? The choice is yours. It has always been yours. And now you are ready.